pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Can. Trustee Vert.
Present.
Trustee Favdahl.
Present.
Treasurer Anderson.
Present.
Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Clee.
Present.
And Trustee Campbell.
Present.
Thank you.
Do we have any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? No? Are there any corrections to the minutes of our last board meeting from June 6th, 2022?
Yes.
A correction on the vote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other than that, is everything else good? All those in favor of approving the minutes with the correction to be made on the vote of one of the motions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That stands approved. Now we move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium, state your name, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
Good evening. You ready for the spelling? My name is Christopher Reed. It's spelled C-R-Y-S-T-U-F-E-R. Last name is Reed, R-E-E-D. Yeah. You ready? Ready? Mm-hmm. Bible says to be angry, but not sin. So tonight, I want to make sure that the board is aware that I am only here presenting facts and not trying to present an opinion on any given person here in the board or that works for the township. But you see, I do have a reason to be angry tonight. Free enterprise is an economic system in which private business operates in competition and largely free of government control. My question is do we still have that free enterprise in this community? So I'm here simply because we have a document that was provided to us by your building department this past week, which is a temporary restraining order to stop business. My application for tent sale was dropped off at the township office April 25th, where a response from the building department secretary was that this application would never be approved. I'm not sure why she has the authority to say that without that going through the building department and the proper chain of commands. However, we asked to have a receipt and for things to go through the proper chain. Upon asking for a receipt, so here's the permit application. I received it back today from the building inspector. We'll get to that here in a few. Upon dropping that application off, we asked for a receipt. Later that afternoon, we were given an email that says, I was in the township office earlier today. She basically stated I was correct yesterday when I told you that I wouldn't be allowed. I don't know if you want to pick up the application or I can shred the check. Mind you, the check is still right here, so it hasn't been cashed and properly approved or worked with to accept the application. So at this time, I made a phone call to the building inspector, Mr. Stuart Worthing. No response. After communicating with a former board member here and a board member that's current here, I was asked to text him and to email him and to call the office. Those were both done on April 26th around 12:30 p.m. I also attended the Board of Appeals meeting for May, trying to corner him and get him here so we can actually have communication with him because we still have not had communication with the building department in any way. Email, text, phone. Their suggestion was to proceed with setting up the location until otherwise told by Stuart directly or formally by the township with a letterhead document. No communication back from anyone with Flint Township until 6:15, where another email by the building department secretary was stated where it says, per Stuart Worthing, Chief Building Inspector, and Brett Beckley, Flint Township Fire Chief, your application for tent sale for fireworks was not and will not be approved. Still, tried to call Stuart Worthing to have an understanding of what's going on, where is this coming from. We were approved for a permit the prior year. What has changed from this year? So we set up the location Friday at 10 a.m. per our state permit, which I have right here as well. I also have last year's permit here as well, if you'd like to see that. State inspector showed up at 10 a.m.
Your time is up.
Sounds good.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name is Emily Reed. Good evening. Oh, Emily Reed, EMILYREED. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Emily Reed. I am the co-owner of Things That Go Boom Fireworks. My husband Christopher and I are from the township. We grew up here. It is our community. We employ people in the township in multiple small businesses, and we have supported this township and our neighbors where we live to the best of our ability for years. I trust that after tonight, ladies and gentlemen of the board, will be led to swift action. As an elected member of this body, you have a duty to make decisions that are in the best interest of this township, its citizens, and to hold the building department accountable. I have given you a copy of the excerpt, and I'll give it to you now, of this Michigan Fireworks Safety Act. I'll have it for you in a minute. It's back there. This Michigan law prohibits local municipalities from restricting the sale of fireworks from a state-permitted temporary structure unless the population of that municipality is above 100,000 or the county population is above 750,000. This community does not meet those thresholds. When attempting to obtain a local tent sale permit from the township, I was told immediately by the building department secretary that I should just stop writing my check because the permit will not be accepted. I submitted my application anyway and requested that the proper procedures be followed. After attempting to contact Mr. Stuart Worthing, Chief Building Inspector, for 8 weeks, was given radio silence from the department. My check has still not been cashed, and we had not had a formal acceptance or denial of the permit. Upon setting up our fireworks stand on Friday, the township served us legal suit papers with temporary restraining order to signed by a judge. This shut us down because if we saw, we would be in contempt of court. I'd like to point out that the township office was closed on Friday. It takes time, effort on the part of the building department to prepare these documents and have them signed. This paperwork was intentionally pre-arranged by your building department to be served at the time that they knew we would not have any recourse going into a holiday weekend with the courts closed on Monday. We finally spoke with Mr. Worthing this morning to find out why he had served us these papers. We asked why our application had not been officially approved or denied and why we hadn't heard from him. Mr. Worthing proceeded to pull out the application, sign his name next to the no section, and give it back to us and said that he would see us in court. Your building department used township resources, put time and effort into legal paperwork, and put someone to wait until we could stand there and serve us papers instead of properly issuing an acceptance or denial of a permit or picking up the phone to call back a citizen. Mr. Worthing neglected to follow the proper process. He intentionally held the application in an improper manner. We would have had time to appeal the decision had he conducted himself properly, or we could have moved our state permit to another location, which is now too late to do so. The intentional effort to shut us down can only be one of two things. This is either an attempt by your building department to restrict free enterprise in favor of large box stores because you have fireworks that are sold here already, or a personal vendetta for some reason. This isn't about fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you like them or hate them, this township allows the sale of fireworks. Why are they only allowing the big box stores to free reign? What happened to the American dream? What happened to supporting the little guy? What happened to rallying around community members? I am here tonight to urge the board to take swift action in this matter regarding our fireworks stand. Again, there's no time to waste as the season to sell is short. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
You handle those as well, please.
William Newsom. I spoke before about a property next door to me, G3490 Hogarth, that's been abandoned for 5 years. And those pictures of the current, today's condition of the property. I did a little research on the code. I can't find anything that says the date that we start mowing. I've been told it's June 1st, but I can't find anything other than when your lawn gets 7 inches, you have to keep maintaining it. So I'm going to read a little bit of the code that I found. I'm going to try to go as best I can. The definition of a dangerous building. Whenever any portion has been damaged by fire, wind, flood, or any other cause, in such a manner the structural strength or stability is appreciably less than it was before the catastrophe, is much less the minimum requirement code of the building for any building or similar structure or purpose. Basically, whenever the building or structure in the garage ceilings have caved in, the roofs on both sides of the, next to that house, whenever the building or structure, any part because of dilapidation, deterioration, decay, faulty construction, or because removal of movement, therefore, for any other reason, is likely or partially completely collapse at some point, then it's determined to be a dangerous building. Also, whenever for any reason whatsoever, the building or structure or any portion is manifestly unsafe for the purpose for which it's used, it's determined to be a dangerous building. Whenever a building or structure, because of dilapidation, decay, or damage, is unfit for unsanitary or unfit for human habitation, it's determined to be a dangerous building. Section 5.4-2, it shall be unlawful for any owner or agent thereof to keep or maintain any building or part thereof which is a dangerous building, as defined by the article. When the whole or part of any building or structure is found in a dangerous condition, the township building inspector shall issue a notice of dangerous condition. Such notice shall be directed to the owner of the property and interest in the building. The notice shall specify the time and place of a hearing on the condition of the building or structure. A hearing officer shall be appointed by the township board to serve at the pleasure of the board. Any hearing held, the hearing officer shall take testimony of the building inspector, the owner of the property, and any other interested party. Upon taking such testimony, the hearing officer shall render his decision either closing the procedure or ordering the building to be demolished. If it is determined by the hearing officer that the building or structure should be demolished or otherwise made safe, he shall order so, fixing a time in order for the property owner and interest to comply therewith. Upon receiving the findings and order of the hearing officer, the township board shall fix a date for a hearing. In the event of the failure or refusal of the owner or party of interest to comply with the decision of the board, the township board may, in its discretion, contract for the demolition or making safe of the dangerous building. It is hereby determined that the following uses, structures, and activities are causes of blight. I'm talking about the blight now. In any zoning district, the existence of any structure or part of any structure which, because of fire, wind, or other natural disaster or physical deterioration, is no longer habitable, is a dwelling or useful for any purpose other than which it was intended, is the definition of blight. I have blight in my neighborhood. Any person violating this article shall be responsible for a civil infraction. And I just want to say I'm very, very disappointed in the board's action on my property next to me. I feel like it needs to be addressed. And
Thank you, Bud.
I'm not going to insult anybody, but if that house was next to any one of you guys' houses up there, I don't think it would exist in that condition today.
Thank you, Bud.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name is Gerald Roberts, 4487 Lindywood Drive. I've lived here and bought my house in 1971. Paid taxes all those years. Approximately 10 years ago, they had a proposal with regard to police and fire protection. That particular passed. It was a 10-year program. When it passed, the ink hadn't even dried on the certification of that, and our supervisor went across and must have considered that that particular money could go right directly into the general fund, because she automatically went across the board and gave everybody raises in the township, which didn't set too awful good with regard to the people of this particular township. But yet for those 10 years, I've come up here on repeated times mailbox and ask why fire station number 1 is not open. Now, I've got different reasons and different explanations to why that happened. They say that, it would probably take a full-time fire department person, and with regard to the money that would have to be paid for that person and the money, it just wasn't in the budget. But yet, it seems like there's a lot of money in the budget for the police department, but not the fire department. At that point in time, there was a fire down here on Darby. Both me and my wife were over on Bristol Road, and we came over and saw where that fire was. And the fire was up to the roof, burning completely. There's a car or truck in the driveway, and it was on fire. But yet, I was looking for a Flint Township fire truck to be on there. There's a fire station over here off of Flushing Road, and there's one over by the airport. Take a guess what was hooked up to it? The fire hydrant, Swartz Creek. Now, if Darby would have been open, probably 5 or 6 blocks, that could have been there, and we could have had our fire truck down there. But yet the township and our supervisor refuses to open up fire station number 1. Now they're coming back for another millage with regard to that. I don't understand it. There's supposed to be fiscal responsibility. I've lived here for 50 years. We never had to have a ladder truck. I think there's only about 2 places here in the township, maybe over here, one of the apartment complexes in back of the Shoemakers, and I think there's another one here in back of Genesee Valley Mall. It looks like it needs maybe a ladder truck. $1 million. Every one of you people voted for that. In 50 years, we didn't need a ladder truck in this. I'm asking for fiscal responsibility and responsibility with regard to, if we don't need a $1 million fire truck, a ladder truck, and we didn't need it for 50 years, why do we suddenly need it now? It's my opinion. I can tell these people over here why they can't get their permit. Because about 3 or 4 years ago, they came in and they said, we're not going to license any of these private fire places to come around here because we want to have a personal building and we want to tax those particular buildings. We don't want to issue a temporary permit. That's the reason, folks, that you guys are not...
Mr. Roberts, would you please address the board?
Pardon?
When you're talking to the board, will you please address the board?
You're telling me where I can talk?
Yes. When you're addressing the board, talk to us, please.
Okay, I'm addressing the people too.
No, you're not. You're addressing the board during public comment.
Oh, I am?
Yes.
Are you going to take that time off that you just corrected me on?
Sure, you can have 10 seconds more.
Okay. I feel liberty and justice for all. We're not getting liberty and justice for all. These people over here are not getting liberty and justice for all. Let them pay for their permit and let them, small business enterprise, do their job and to make money for their family.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Roberts. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name's Steve Condell. It's Kondel. I expected, well, I'm not familiar with how this works out, but last time we were here, Stuart Worthing was here. He's been working on the sound issue down the road at Lennon and Dye Road. There was no action taken on that. We put out a letter. I think the board saw it was like 12 signatures or something like that. Nothing happened from that meeting on. I think he took one drive-by or something and didn't hear anything. Since then, one of the people that came up here last time called him today, and so he went out to hear the noise. And so from what we know, the noise level was just below the maximum it's supposed to be, but I don't know anything about what maximums are or anything, and mind you, it's up against a wall. You know, the noise also emanates above too, and so it can realistically be a lot louder at my house even. But the idea is now to use it only when they need to, and then eventually move it to the other side of the building, which was talked about in a meeting right after this before Stuart actually even talked to Printcom about this. This is something he suggested. So when they do the new construction, they want to put it on the other side, but I don't have any way to contact Stuart, or I assumed he would be here for this, but basically, I don't know if any the noise level is not acceptable. Like, it's been a month now. Like, it's critical now with like the summer months and everything. My dad's 77 years old. We celebrated his birthday, Father's Day, my birthday, all at his house in the backyard. He doesn't like the COVID stuff, doesn't want the vaccine and everything, so we couldn't do it in my backyard because we didn't know if the noise would be on. They didn't have it on. It's not on Saturdays and stuff like that. They said now they're going to try to run it minimally, and that shouldn't be ran at all, in my opinion. They said what it was used for, and they never used to run this thing. They didn't have this thing. They've had it. They had it at their old place. It wasn't running there. They brought it here. It didn't run for, I don't know, almost a year, maybe more. I don't know when they moved in. But they use it to make shredded paper, and I think until they move it, and I'd like to make sure that they verify that when they move it, that it's going to sound okay. So you could go to the other side of the building right now and take a measurement and make sure it's okay. And then also, I think we can all come up. I won't be here for the next couple weeks to talk about this again. So we all believe that thing needs to be off, and they need to go back to whatever means they had to get shredded paper before. It's way too loud, and I'm probably the person. I don't know how else to describe it, but like, the noise reflectivity off the wall means to, like, if what he saw is inadequate by being what he thinks is just under the dB level, which you can go up 6 dB by moving like a foot this way or a foot that way. And I mean, I don't know what he's doing for standards for noise. I work in noise and vibration. My best friend's in code enforcement, so I kind of know both sides of how some stuff. I didn't know if anything can be done. I don't know what I need to do next or what I can do next. I called Printcom today to find out the story from him. He said they wanted to set up a meeting between Kevin and between Printcom and us and everything. I want to know more about noise levels and everything else. I can get a noise meter for my work and do it in my backyard, but if no one's heard in my backyard and that noise is still going on, like, something needs to be done. Because that noise is way too loud in our backyards, like way too loud. And it could be louder. I don't know. It's loud both places. It's not noticeably louder right in front of it, but noise amplitude does increase with a big brick wall in front of something. It will be louder further away, and we're only 50, 75 foot away maybe. So that's all. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do to be able to contact Stuart or move this forward, but I don't think he's moving very fast in this since
He's trying to set up a meeting.
Pardon me?
He's trying to set up a meeting.
Yeah, well, he didn't do anything until we called him today, right before the meeting, and he still didn't get the meeting set up. So that's all.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
I heard they have been doing something. And they've been there.
So if nobody else wants to address the board, we'll move on to reports. So I just wanted to remind everybody that when you're mowing your lawn and grass gets in the street, I know it seems silly, but it does cause problems, and people have complained that when it goes in the gutter or gets on the catch basin, I want to remind people to make sure that they clean that up, and they also clean up the catch basin so the water can run into the catch basins. That's it. We're going to have something, a reminder being sent out from MTerra on the do's and the don'ts of Garbage Lake. You can set out 2 large items. They appreciate a phone call if you're going to do that, and other things like that. So look for that in the mail soon. It should be to our residents by the end of the month. So that's all I have for my report, Madam Clerk.
I have a citywide Recycle Day event that's going to be June 21st. It's at Carmen Ainsworth Middle School, which is tomorrow from 2 to 6. So if you have anything that you want recycled, Carmen Ainsworth, I'm not sure if there's certain items it didn't specify. Other than that,
Yeah, they usually have what you can and cannot. If they go on the Genesee County website,
okay.
they can find out, or they can call them.
They can go to the Genesee County website and see if there's specific items that you can and cannot recycle.
Is that your report? Before I move on to you, Madam Treasurer, I wanted to, I meant to bring this to the last meeting. We don't usually get compliments, we usually get a lot of complaints, and so I wanted to read this to the board. It's from a Jeffrey Guyon. Greetings, Karen. I wanted to let you know how impressed I am with Megan DeLorge, who works for you in the Flint Township Water Department. I'm doing a loan on behalf of a veteran who is purchasing the above-mentioned property, and the VA was requesting he hook up to city water if it was available and or feasible. His purchase could have gone quickly could have quickly gone south as he does not have the funds to do so, but as it turns out, Megan confirmed that there was no water available at the street and drafted a letter for our underwriter only minutes after my request. I wanted to pass along that I have contact with various governmental offices around the country on behalf of builders and others, and never have I been able to actually speak to a representative so quickly or who genuinely took an interest in helping out. Her attitude and helpfulness were off the chart, and I wanted you to know that I was totally blown away. I will definitely inform the veteran as well, as I'm sure he appreciates hearing this. Kudos again to Megan, and if the rest of your staff are anything like her, you should be most proud. Cordially, Jeff Guyan. Yeah, so like I said, those are few and far between, and when we get it right, it's good to know. That's all I have, Madam Treasurer.
I don't have a report, but I do want to make a couple of comments. Last board meeting, there was conversations regarding the township name change. And I know during that particular time, one of our residents had mentioned that she mentioned the word that I was angry. And I wanted to just kind of follow up on that. I want to apologize if it appeared as if I were angry. I want to apologize to Trustee Vert if it appeared as if I were overbearing, possibly on the subject. I am passionate about the subject. Today I went and I Googled a few things because I keep hearing the conversation that businesses are not going to come to Flint Township because of the Flint water. And I've heard this for the last 8 years since that Flint water has been taking place. While it appears that we are sitting here in Flint Township having those conversations, if you look at the MCC Culinary Arts Building, they have a $16 million renovation that had taken place there in downtown Flint, with an additional $3.7 million equipment grant that they got from the state of Michigan. The Flint Public Library just recently opened with a $20 million renovation. Sloan Museum is slated to open here soon. I don't know if, is it open now? A $30 million renovation. Is that a new build or renovation?
Renovation.
It's a renovation, $30 million renovation.
July 16th, it's open to the public.
July 16th. Hilton Garden Inn, they have a brand new hotel in downtown Flint, $36.5 million. The Capitol Theater had $37 million renovation. The Pace, which was the old International Institute, $4 million. Downtown Flint brick replacement is going to take place to the tune of $5.3 million. The Elder Credit Union has a presence in Flint, downtown Flint. And I recall seeing that on the news, and that she was so passionate to say, we waited 18 years to get to Flint with this credit union. And so they are there with a $1.4 million renovation. The Flint Cultural Center Academy, a brand new elementary school, $35 million. We say companies aren't coming. Lear Auto Manufacturing Plant is there. It was the old Hamilton where the Buick is, a $26 million renovation. Chevy Commons, the governor just announced that there's going to be a $26.2 million Michigan State Park that is going to be placed right at the Chevy Commons, which is right near Kettering University. You also bring to that the presence of Kettering University, Mott Community College, University of Michigan Flint, Michigan School for the Deaf, Flint Farmers Market, MSU College of Human Medicine, Genesis Downtown Flint Health Center. Communities First has affordable houses throughout the city of Flint. Marketplace Apartments is $19.5 million, which was the old YWCA. Beautiful places. You must go see them. I was in the at another meeting. The county is talking about Buick City. There's a potential that there's going to be an investment so huge there that's going to be opening up jobs for probably 450 people. Good paying jobs. All of this is in the city of Flint. Why do you want to detach from that? I don't know. I know the Economic Development Corporation has reached out to Tim Herman. We're trying to start some conversations with the rest of the county to see what we can be doing differently here in Flint so that we can also start to thrive and build and look good. So if I felt passionate about the name change, I am very passionate. I was born and raised in the city of Flint. Again, at the end of the day, I'm only one vote. I've cast my vote. I know there'll be some more conversations regarding the survey that's going to be coming up. And the last piece that I want to read, it's a little ironic, but I don't even know if ironic is the word. This was published on May 19th. It says, the Vehicle City has made the list of one of the best places to live in the state and country by the U.S. News and World Report. U.S. News analyzed 150 of the most populous metropolitan areas to determine the best places to live. For a city to make the top of the list, it had to be ranked as a desirable place to live, a good value and present, a strong job market, and a high quality of life. Flint was ranked as the 131st best place to live, 111th best place to retire, and 6th best place to live in Michigan. The city was also ranked 24th most dangerous places by the U.S. News. And the mayor stated this is the first time Flint appeared upon this type of list. Best place to live in America in the last 50 years. It really speaks to what we've been doing over the last couple of years and the plans that we have forthcoming. So I just encourage individuals to look around you, step outside of the Flint Township and kind of see what's going on around you, because I just feel we're getting behind. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any trustee reports this evening?
No, I was just.
No? No? This end? No?
I'd like to say something. I think we need to have a hard look at what is directed at and given some of the options that our businesses are asking to do, and we need to do, if Megan did such a great job, and she does, in the clerk's office and all the other departments, what did they drop the ball? What happened in the building department? That just is a question.
We have an ordinance that does not allow third-party sales.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just questioning on the time frame, the timing.
I think they were told pretty quickly after they submitted their application that it was not going to be approved. And that came because there was a lot of people who were complaining when we did allow them that, I'll say specifically, and he's not living anymore, Don Williamson put a lot of pressure on this board before you were on this board. He was upset that he was one of the largest taxpayers in this township, and we were going to allow a tent sale with another dealership over at the Genesee Valley Mall, and he threw a fit. He was not happy, and this board voted to not allow third-party sales. So the places that do sell those can have a tent sale out front. They're paying taxes on their buildings, and that's the reason why we passed that ordinance. We can take a look at passing another ordinance if that's what this township board wants to do. But as it stands, we have an ordinance in place that does not allow third-party sales.
Timing issue.
Were they there last year, though?
Yeah.
There were two people who were given a permit because we had a new building official who didn't realize we had that ordinance. I contacted the attorney. He said, allow them to do what they're doing, and then you can handle it going forward. So we let them have it because it was an accident to give that permit out. I brought it up to Stewart's attention, and I told him we can't be doing this, and so it was denied this year. We had two other people ask for tent sales for fireworks who do not sell fireworks within their brick and mortar, and they were denied also. So it's because it's our ordinance.
They weren't served
Anything else, Tom?
Later.
Okay. If we have no other trustee reports, we'll move on to staff reports. Chief Salter.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Since our last board meeting, your police department has responded to over 1,200 calls for service. Including that calls for service, we also have 235 traffic stops we did, 103 business checks, and 53 residence checks. A few different events within the last 2 weeks. We've had 4 different CCW arrests, 2 different shots fired calls that we responded to, and 1 shooting where the suspect was shot in the shoulder. Arrested and charged. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Chief Beckley.
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department has responded to 61 calls. This is about a 4.5 call per day average, which is significantly higher than we're used to. Included in this number is 5 structure fires, 5 personal injury accidents, 3 vehicle accidents with entrapments, 7 fire alarms, and 4 cooking fires. So again, an uptick in cooking fires here in the last 2 weeks. On the 6th, we responded to a commercial structure fire at Genesee Village Apartments. We had a fire in the attic near a ventilation fan. that was quickly found and extinguished. The building had to be ventilated afterwards. On the 12th, we responded to a structure fire in the 3000 block of Devonshire. It was a dryer fire with a large amount of lint buildup and things like that did catch on fire. That was quickly extinguished and contained also. On the 18th, just this past Saturday morning, we responded to a structure fire in the 1000 block of Mill Creek. Fire crews arrived to find heavy smoke and fire coming from the roof of a residence. Fire crews worked to extinguish this fire. Was trying to travel through the attic, so there was an extensive amount of work on this incident. One firefighter was seen at the hospital for a hand injury after this incident, but all residents did make it out of the home safely. We were assisted on this incident by Mount Morris Township, Swartz Creek, and Flushing. Again, like I stated earlier, we have noticed an uptick in cooking fires. Just a reminder, if you're cooking, you have things on your stove and your ovens, things like that, please make sure that you're attending those things. It just takes a second to get distracted, and bad things can happen. Also, in the last 2 weeks, we have installed smoke detectors in 2 homes in the township that did not have any working smoke detectors. So again, a reminder, if you need those, we have them. We'll come out, we'll install them, no questions asked. Last week, we did complete entry-level full-time firefighter interviews. All 9 candidates passed that process. The last step in their testing will be a physical agility test, which will be completed this coming weekend. So we are actively working on that as well. And we are taking applications for on-call firefighters as well. We always are looking for more personnel, more on-call firefighters. Over the last few years, our numbers have dropped, and we're hoping to get a few good candidates. So if you're interested, you live in Flint Township, near Flint Township, stop by. We're happy to ask, or to answer any questions. Fill out an application, and just all training, equipment, all that stuff is paid for by us. So there's no cost to you, and we're always looking for help. So that's my report. We have no action items on the agenda.
Thank you. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report this evening?
Just the main thing I wanted to talk about is the survey that we're doing for the name change, or asking for people's opinions on the name change. It is available on our website. If you go to flinttownship.org, on the main page, there's a red banner that says name change survey. It'll take you to the page that actually has survey on it, along with a brief history of what's went on. And you can take the survey either at the top or bottom of that email. It's also on our Flint Township events page. You can look at our events, or you can look at the posts that are there. And there's several ways to take the survey. We're hoping to let everybody's voice be heard on the subject. They can vote to not rename the township. They can put their input on what names they like. So we're really just trying to get a feel for where the public is on this issue.
And how long will people be able to take that survey?
It is open until July 4th. That'll be the last day. So if right now it's live, and they can take it right now through the 4th.
So Tracy, if somebody doesn't have access to a computer, how can they take that if they want to? Can we have them come here and walk them through it?
We can use that computer up at the front desk. I think is that attached to the Wi-Fi?
It is.
Yeah. So we should be able to let them use that, and they can just go to our website and pull up the front page, and they can do it right there.
So it identifies your name and address. And I know that it uses IP address also to identify. I mean, you can't vote 25 times. So any repeats, they would toss out. You get to vote one time. And they use a geofence also, I think. So they're looking at names, addresses, and IP address. So we can let them know that there were people.
Yeah, we'd have to get that IP address up there. If we have more than 1 or 2 people use that, have the girls let me know, and I'll give him the exception for that IP address so he can put it in his calculations.
And if anyone has any questions, can they give you a call? Yeah, just
Sure.
call the township.
Sure.
Okay. All right, anything else, Tracy?
Nope, that's all for tonight.
All right, John Whiteside's here. He's our secretary on our road advisory committee. He's got a report.
Good evening, Township Board and Supervisor Miller.
Evening.
My report's from our last Township Road Advisory meeting, which was a week ago today. And we actually had two residents speak at our public comments, and both of their concerns was something we had on our agenda. One was River Valley Drive, and the gentleman brought in a full report of what the condition was with pictures. And his concern was the whole length of the road. The other resident spoke on Shady Hill Court. She's been to our meetings several times over the years, and it's a cul-de-sac. It's off of dyed metal. And she voiced concerns about the little circle that's in her cul-de-sac. Garbage trucks and so forth turn around in there, but she also has a drainage issue. So Supervisor Miller did relay to us in financial that there's been some 50-50 monies additional that she's been able to get from other townships that we can use. There's been some funding changes to the special assessment on Linden Creek Parkway and the use of some ARPA funds to repair the drainage issue on Holiday Drive. So our committee was tasked with what projects should we try to add to this year's projects. And Mike Pfeiffer from Craft Engineering presented some possible projects for us to consider. There was about 6 of these we talked about. One was the Shady Hill Court. And through the public comments of the resident, the drainage issue is something we need to make sure that's corrected before we put money into Shady Hill Court, if the committee selected that. The second one has been talked about before is Charter Oaks Drive. And the committee felt, well, we probably should move that into the 2023 year plan, so we have other area roads in that neighborhood. River Valley Drive, Mike presented 3 options for us. One was to do just where the entrance is to the Diplomat Pharmacy and the culvert, or fix from that entrance to Beecher Road, or do the whole length of it. And our committee decided it would be best just to do the whole section of the road. Dye Road and Calkins Road intersection, which has been brought up at previous meetings. When the 2 roads were done, the intersection has some issues with it. And Mike had suggested possibly milling and paving that intersection and resurfacing that. I think his rough estimate was around $25,000. Trotwood Lane was brought to us at previous time, and we looked at that. Mike had some estimates for doing the curve or possibly doing the whole road. If we do the whole road, that's also something we need to try to roll into other projects in that area. And then crack sealing, that's always a good thing to have done. Crack seal previous work to provide the life, extend the life of the road. So after our discussions and lengthy discussions and the presentation, we came with 2 motions. One was to go ahead and do the River Valley Drive, all of it, and also purchase the crack seal. The second motion is, depending on funding, would maybe do the Calkins Road and Dye Road intersection. But it all depends on the funding. But both those motions did pass unanimously. And the road advisory recently added a new member, but we've also had a member who resigned from the committee because of taking a different position with the township on one of the other committees. So we're still in need of another resident to step forward and become part of the road advisory committee. So we only currently have 8. That concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you, John. So we'll move on to number 8, payment of bills. Madam Treasurer.
Yes. Madam Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to pay bills in the amount of $373,047.02 and to acknowledge disbursements in the amount of $46,630.82.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any questions or discussion for Madam Treasurer? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call please on the payment of bills in the amount of $373,047.02.
Trustee Clay?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdog?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any correspondence or informational items, Madam Clerk?
No.
Move on to new business. Action item A, Mrs. Tucker.
This is just a first reading on the zoning ordinance update. It will be posted in the paper this week, and we'll have, or in the next couple weeks, and then we will have a final reading at the July 18th meeting, and that's where you would take action. This was, public hearings were held at the planning commission level, and they voted unanimously to move it forward, as far as I know.
By the 18th.
The next meeting. That's the next meeting.
We have a meeting on the 5th, don't we?
Nope.
No, I have it.
That's what I have too. I have this meeting on the 5th.
We canceled it because of the fourth.
Yeah.
When did we cancel it?
I don't remember.
I thought we canceled it because of the fourth as well.
We'll check.
It was in,
So it'll be at the 18th unless we do have a meeting on the 5th, right? We'll have to check.
schedule out there.
Yeah, we'll check it. Thank you. So that's just a reading tonight. Thank you. We have the action item B, 2022 summer tax roll special assessment certification. A motion would be in order to move forward.
Anderson moves that we approve the 2022 summer tax roll special assessment certification as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion? No? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call please on the motion to approve the 2022 summer tax roll special assessment certification.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Favdal?
Yes.
Trustee Quee?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Action item C is road projects or additional road projects. Mike, did you have a short report for us?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it.
Time's up.
Pretty short.
I've got a summary here for you that I
You
put
want us just to
together.
pass them down?
Yeah.
You reach out the long arms.
Thanks.
Yes, good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board, Mike Pfeiffer, Craft Engineering. And John covered some of the things I'm going to talk about here, but I just want to kind of recap some other stuff first. We're going to talk about the 2022 Flint Township road rehabilitation and resurfacing projects. Previously and initially, we had selected Lavelle, Mackin, Concord, and Ramsgate. But Supervisor Miller came across an additional $107,000 that she got 50-50 money by calling other township supervisors and seeing if they were going to use it. And 2 townships were willing to grant Flint Township rights to their money, and it was a total of about $107,385,000. So as a result of that, we decided to look and see if there's anything in addition we could do to those 4 road projects that I mentioned first. And we've had complaints about, well, several roads over the years, and John pretty well covered them, but the ones we really wanted to look at were River Valley and Shady Oaks and Charter Oaks were kind of our primary area of concern. And what I did is I did prepare some ballpark estimates for that meeting at the advisory committee last Monday, a week from today, just to see an idea of what it would take to do, some different types of projects. And I did do like 3 different options. One was just to do the minimal necessary. The other was to do, to get a couple other areas that were also in pretty bad shape, but still it was a smaller project. The third was to just do some repairs out there and resurface the road. So the advisory committee, as John said, they decided that they wanted to move ahead with the River Valley project and then the Calkins intersection if there were adequate funds. So at that point, what I had to do, I had to go back and, because this all came together pretty fast, so I had to go back and look at the overall costs that we had available, and this is what's in front of you. Before I could, determine exactly what we could do. I did issue an email and said that I gave the price to do the preferred repair on River Valley that would take care of everything, and it was about $185,000, including construction and engineering. But I had to go back and see if that would fit within our budget. Turns out that much won't fit within the budget. Down in the bottom, you see that we have a little over $1 million available, which is a good sum of money. It really is. It comes from various sources. The Township's Road Millage Fund, CVG funding, the 50/50 funds from the road commission. We got some money from last year that we didn't use that we rolled over, plus the 168,585 is the money that we get for 2022. And then also, Karen got Utley Road that we did last year. She got some additional CBDG funding, and actually the road commission just paid us the value of those funds we got from the CBDG. So actually, we got an extra $85,000 as a result of that. And we got that in there, and then the additional money that Karen got and the engineering funds that are typically reserved every year. So we have some money to work with, but what I did is that we also have a couple other things that we're looking at doing. The Flagstone Point subdivision, it's been approved to move forward to the next public hearing, which is we're in the process of doing right now. We're working our way towards that. And the board's share of that 10-year bond would be about $62,000 is what I calculated. And then Linden Creek Parkway, looks like the board may have to pick up about $4,250 of that assessment. So we have another $66,250 that costs that the township has agreed to provide. So Karen, and I don't mean to throw you a curveball or mislead you, but I did that total ideal fix for River Valley, and we don't have enough money to do that all. What we do have enough money to do is $133,000 worth of improvements to River Valley, so we can still take care of a significant portion of that road. But we won't exactly know how much money we have until we bid out these projects to find out exactly what we got. So, I think I'm going to put together, what I will do then is I'll put together the total project the way that I originally estimated for $166,000, and then I'll do an option B and have the contractor bid that, which will be closer to what I think we got available. So we'll bid it out, see how the bids come in, and then we'll be able to decide between option A or option B based on the way that all the bids come in. So what we're here to do tonight is to add the River Valley Drive to the other roads as part of the 2022 road improvement projects. And I've got $133,000 in there to that can be appropriated toward that road. So I think I've pretty well covered everything with that. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
So we're looking for a vote on approving the River Valley project, contingent on what's available.
Yeah.
So a motion would be in order to move forward.
I have a question. So the River Valley is not on here. It's not on our agenda, is it?
Road projects.
Oh, that's River, okay. Before I make a motion, I would like to say, Madam Supervisor, thank you for your dedication to going after those additional funds. We were at a countywide township legislative dinner, and I kind of overheard her saying, "Oh, what projects? What are you going to do with your road project money?" And they said, "We're not going to use our money." She goes, "Oh, really?" Okay, and so we kind of started getting those funds in. It was quite impressive, actually. So I want to say thank you for that. You didn't have to go out and kind of do that, but I'd like to make a motion that we approve the road projects for 2022 as presented.
Support. Any further discussion or questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So, Mike, if I may direct these to you, and Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Supervisor. So we're asking, now on some of these, we're looking at some of the ARPA funds as a way to utilize some of the infrastructure costs and that. So is this?
We've already voted on.
I'm asking the question specifically on number 5, the River Valley. So we're asking to spend another $133,000 additional dollars, or correct?
Yes, but it's not from the ARPA funds. It's from the down at the bottom, Tom. You see the 2022 funds available?
I do.
That's the source of the funds that we're using for the 2022 road projects.
Okay, so looking at that, we're estimating $935,000 is going back to the top, part 1. So we're estimating a cost of $935,000, and then toss in, and that is including the $133,000 that we have now allocated to do the work for River Valley, but we hadn't actually slipped that into the work line. But now we're saying, okay, we have some of the money, we can do River Valley up to $133,000. It's not like we're taking 133,000 out of the general fund or some from where else and applying it to it.
That's primarily the money that Karen got 107,000 of it, and we still have some extra after the first 4 projects initially. So it's just a matter of wanting to use the extra money that we have available. We also talked about just waiting until next year because it's starting to get later. But River Valley's in such bad shape that the committee and the supervisor wanted to see if we could try to get it in this year, and so that's what we're going to try to do.
Just curious on how we were putting the money there. Thank you.
So I just want to be clear when we talk, none of these projects are all being funded out of the municipal street fund millage. And the second part where it says miscellaneous projects, when any neighborhood wants to do a special assessment, we have, because when we went out, that millage, when it was originally passed in 2006, people were told that we'll pay up 25% out of the millage, municipal street fund millage, towards special assessments. So that's where all these projects are going to be funded. Now the SADs from last year, and we're going to finish 2 this year. We're going to finish Holiday, and we're going to finish Austin Parkway. There's some grant dollars that we'll be hopefully receiving from the state. We'll have a more definitive answer on that going forward, but that will go toward those projects, but not these. So no ARPA funds are going to, we're not asking to use any ARPA funds on these. It's just road millage funds or block grant funds or matching funds from the road commission. They changed their rules. They used to say that you can only use the matching dollars on local roads and not neighborhood roads. The last couple of years, they took the restriction off and said you could use them anywhere as long as your PACER rating on average in the township is a 4 or 5?
Yes.
4?
Yeah, 4.
So that's where the funds come from.
Thank you.
Bad roads, in other words.
Yeah, bad roads. Exactly. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Madam Clerk, roll call please on, now I just want to make sure, if any of these projects are bid and they come in lower and money opens up, he'll do the more in-depth fix on River Valley?
Right. It'll still be a good fix, okay? It's not like we're just going to do a little bit, scratch the surface, so to speak. We'll still do a decent repair.
So, there's a few things in play here. The bids may come in low. There may be some more 50-50 funds that don't get used at the road commission, and there may be some leftover CBDG funds that open up. So we may be able to do, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Karen, please keep working the phones. If you get any more 50-50 funds, we have the matching funds to be able to use those additional funds. Because we actually got more township funds than we do 50-50. So if we could get some more, we can use it.
I'm asking if the motion with the road projects includes Shady Hill. That's only going to be done if we can pay for it, of course, with these funds if they open up. So the motion would include that as presented. You have River Valley and Shady Hill here, and then the other projects, and you'll be putting them out for bid, and as the bids come in, and if any other funds open up, we'll be able to do those projects as we're able to afford them. So, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on approving the additional projects of River Valley and Shady Hill Court.
Trustee Fabro?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes.
Thank you. So the motion passes, and I know you get to work on that. There's a lot that you're doing, and I appreciate it. Thanks for all your help.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening,
You too.
everybody.
Good night. So, action item D is the 2022 Michigan Township Association dues. You have that before you, and a motion would be in order to approve paying the dues in the amount of $6,853.
Anderson moves that we pay dues for the 2022 Michigan Township Association in the amount of $6,853.
I
That's not there.
didn't include the legal fees. Hold on. I'm sorry. Just had it up. Right here. So it's a total of $7,058.59.
$7,058.59.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
A second.
Any questions or discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call please on approving the motion to pay the 2022 Michigan Township Association dues in the amount of $7,058.59.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Clay?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt? Yes. Trustee Favdahl?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Thank you.
Action item E is to amend the 2022 fee schedule for rental inspections. You have that before you. A motion is in order to move forward.
We would move that we accept the fee schedule as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the amended 2022 fee schedule signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That was unanimous. Action item F is, well, let me give you a rundown. You can see the information in your packet. We have the 3 granite stones over at the police station, and they're not complete. We need to look at, actually, if you look at the pictures, the Flint Township Police and the Flint Township Fire Department logos take up a lot of the frontage of the smaller stones, and they need to go on a granite base. They need to come up to meet the concrete, and it's not level there, and I don't know all the details. I just know that to rectify the situation, you have the proposal in front of you, and I'm requesting that the board would approve paying, let's see, $79.95 for the granite base. And they're talking labor, and I'm going to ask them to waive that because this wasn't entirely our fault. In fact, I think they should bear that cost. So, but I'm still going to ask the board to approve $79.95 from the ARPA funds to finish off that the base on the Veterans Memorial granites. So a motion would be in order to move forward.
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of $7,995 to Inch Memorial to finalize the placement of the Veterans Memorial stones.
Is there a second to the motion?
Clee would support that.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the actual amount that you want them to waive?
The $1,000 for the to remove and clean and reset the tablets. Because the base, we should have looked at that when we were building it anyway. It's a nice addition, but clearly because the bricks would cover the bottom of the logos, now it's like necessary. So I'm going to ask them to waive that $1,000 labor fee.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions?
Well, that's what Barbara stated. I was going to ask the same thing, is that we push for that, and the fact that they were the ones that established what it should look like, how it should look like, and what the eye would see as you pull up to it. It looks very nice, but you're right, it drops, and we do need to do that. And that's their profession. We went to them.
So
I'd be willing to, I mean, yes, they have to do some work. I mean, ask for half.
what's that?
Ask for half. Ask
I'll
for half.
start with that.
Ask for half and
I will, Tom.
work
Half of
forward.
the 79?
Yes.
Right.
I'll do that.
Ask for half.
Alrighty. Can we,
Change the,
Change the motion?
yeah, should we change the motion?
I think we'll have to.
Or no?
Or
How do
amend
you
it?
think? What do you, Karen,
I think we should approve this amount, and then
okay.
if you can get it to go down.
does anyone want to make a phone call with me?
Sure.
Alrighty. So we have a motion for, was in the amount of $79.95, right? From ARPA funds. If there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Favdahl?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Trustee Clay?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes.
Who seconded that?
You did.
Okay, so action item G is board appointment. We no longer have an alternate on the ZBA. We used to have one. One or two. Was it one?
One.
And that person is now seated on the board. So we had a meeting where we didn't have enough we didn't have enough for a quorum, so I'm presenting the name John Whiteside to be an alternate for the ZBA, so that we can have that quorum when necessary. So if anyone would like to make that motion, that'd be great.
We would move to accept John Whiteside as the alternate to the Zoning Board of Appeals, effective next the July meeting. I was just looking for the date, sorry. July 6th, for the July 6th meeting.
Second it.
Alrighty. All those in favor of appointing John Whiteside as the alternate to the ZBA, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That's unanimous. Announcements, our next meeting. It says July 18th. Can we just verify that we're not having one on the 5th?
Yes.
Okay, we'll post that.
I'm pretty sure.
What was I going to say? I wanted to quickly mention something about the survey. It's just a survey, and I've heard a lot of people talk about, we thought that we already changed the name to Carmen Hills. That never happened. There was a committee that was asked, because we had been asked to do something, and a committee was formed, and they were asked, do you want to change the name of the township? That's what they were asked. But I think there was excitement from all those people who attended, and they came up with 104 different names. I think that was whittled down to 10, and Carmen Hills was on the top. But that was a recommendation from an advisory committee. And you can read in the report soon after that, it was clear that there was no way that, even if we voted, that there would be a way, an avenue to change our name. So here we are 5 years later. This survey, we want your input. We want to know, we really do want to hear, do the residents of the township and the business people will also be able to take the survey. Are people interested in changing the name? That's what we want to hear, yes or no. And if you're interested, then what name would you suggest? That's a non-binding survey. Just because we take the survey, we could sit on it and not do anything because we don't want to. So, but we do want your input. And so the majority, I'm just saying for my one vote, because as supervisor I only have one vote, it takes 4 votes to make anything happen here. Yes?
5 votes.
Oh, 5, thank you. It's a 2/3 vote. So it'll take 5 votes to not change a name, but to agree to put it on the ballot so that everybody in the township who's a registered voter would be able to vote on that. So I just want to be clear, you can take that survey, it's free, doesn't bind us, doesn't mean we have to, doesn't make us have to do anything to take action. We're very interested in knowing what your opinion is. And from there, then we'll decide as a board how we move forward. So I just want to make sure that everybody knew, and I see Ben's here from the newspaper, that Carmen Hills was never voted on to be a name. And this survey's non-binding, and it depends on what the results are from that survey, how this township board would act. Okay? Alrighty, so I just wanted to make sure on that, and we're going to check on the next meeting, and if there's no further business.
I have one other comment that when I saw it on Facebook from the township, I reposted, and I know a couple people went in and took the survey, so if you're at all interested in making sure your friends or your circles can see it, just post it on Facebook, share it. Because that can go a long ways on getting more people to weigh in.
And so, Ben and Terry, I know this is streaming live, and also people will view it. If you have any questions about what to do or how to do it or where you can take that survey, we can help you if you don't have access to a computer. Your mobile phone will work great. It's very easy to take the survey on your mobile phone, but if you need any help, our phone number at the township is 810-732-1350. Ask for Tracy. Actually, you could ask for me, or Rose and Deb, who answer the phone, will have information, but Tracy's really computer savvy, and she'd be able to help anybody if anyone needs any help. I mean, I think most people have a mobile phone. It's very easy to take it on the mobile phone, so let us know what you think, please. And so if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.